once again, everybody. Welcome back to the Henrico Sports and Events Center. Transformed, as you can see, for Championship Sunday. True championship deciding court. John Laser alongside Max Cates. Max has been with you all throughout the course of this weekend. Couple more games to go, my friend, and both promise to be scintillating games because both will name a national champion. And we will start in the prep division, which of course is youngsters ages 6 to 12, as we like to put it, the future of wheelchair basketball, feeding into the junior varsity division, and then of course ultimately on to the adult divisions, who will be competing for a national championship here next weekend. And we have a matchup featuring the New York Roland Fury and the WASA Marquette Golden Eagles, as we look at number 6 versus number 4, Marquette and New York.
I think you may text too to make slight adjustments. So like Max is here, you're here. This is your phone's level.
All right, brief technical interruption there, Max, but we're back. Yes, I do in fact know how to operate a mixing board, but here we go. And as I mentioned, the number 4 Roland Fury of New York. We saw this Roland Fury program last year in the semifinal round at the varsity level. They have some theatric and exceptionally talented players at the upper levels in the youth divisions in New York, and we're about to see that it's a deep program, and they've got some up-and-coming stars as well. Meanwhile, the same can be said for Marquette. We saw them at the junior varsity level make a nice run throughout the course of the weekend, and now they look to take the prep title home as well.
Yeah, these two teams blossoming different kinds of futures, one for the prep level and, of course, one for any other levels above that, as you may want to mention. And this is going to be a good game. We're going to witness some high-level youth basketball, and you never know who could be next up on the Olympics, so maybe we'll see a little blueprint of that as well.
Roland Fury, of course, out of New York. New York, led by head coach Christopher Noel. It is the city of Broadway and the city that never sleeps. Marquette, meanwhile, hailing from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Midwestern theme. And man, I'll tell you what, their parents are winning the Arts and Crafts and Enthusiasm Award for this prep level, as we're about to get individual player introductions, which I think is one of the coolest aspects of these national championships. But right now, you can see they have a large and embossed "Let's Go Marquette" glossy sign for the players to roll out under. They also have a flag that is constructed of other flags, pageantry here at Nationals, as we pause for the national anthem. National anthem concludes in anticipation of our prep national champion being crowned here on our championship court inside the Henrico Sports and Events Center. We're about to meet the players on site here. Let's give you the same courtesy here on our live cast for the Roland Fury, as I mentioned, led by head coach Christopher Noel. The roster looks this way: Austin Bird, William Zumi, Mustafa El Deeb, Emma, and she rode right over to us and said, I don't want to be called Amelia. I want to be called Emma. We got you, Emma. Emma D'Antonio, Adel Thompson, Angel Erminetta, Elena Jackson, and Felipe Diaz. They will introduce the reserves and then the starting lineups for the Roland Fury. We have those starting lineups for you as well. The Fury will roll this way. Bird and El Deeb joined in the front court by D'Antonio, Erminetta, and Diaz. Now for the 6th-seeded WASA Marquette Golden Eagles, led by Jim Zomchek and Amber Infelt, all from close proximity to the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. Their roster features Lucy Raitt, Eleanor Schumacher, Sophia Clark, Anna Cosgrove, Sydney Whaley-Smith, Ivy Cosgrove, the sister of Anna, and Leah Schmidt. And they will start this way with Raitt, Anna Cosgrove, Whaley-Smith, Ivy Cosgrove, and Leah Schmidt. Now, a couple rules differences here at the prep level. As you'll see, it's a shortened hoop, the rim at 8 feet rather than, of course, the customary 10. They'll use a smaller basketball. You cannot press or pick in the backcourt at the prep level. Try to get some freedom of movement, Max, to the basket because, of course, at the ages from 6 to 12, certainly you're not developed physically to the point where you can muster through a lot of that back picking and sometimes that pressure that we'll see later this afternoon.
Yeah, this is my first ever time announcing this level, so I'm pretty excited to see how these different changes that I'm not used to I'm going to see. And I kind of heard that it's going to be just a singular shot clock. The shot clock is at 8 minutes, so there is no really any shot clock violation that's going to be made. And that's going to be an exciting game to see.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of mimics what high school basketball used to be with the 8-minute quarters, no shot clock in place, and again, no backpicking, no press allowed at this prep level with the 8-foot rims as we are ready to go post introductions. Always a cool moment when the two teams line up after those introductions. You can always see the smiles on the faces of all the young athletes here at the national championships. Priceless moment, I don't think is hyperbole to say, here in Henrico. Now some pregame pleasantries, and we will get underway. Game today will be officiated by Yosef Saman, Corey Piercy, and Frank Lewis, 3 outstanding officials. Will be monitoring our prep national championship game. The road to get here, as New York and the Roland Fury opened with a victory over the 13th seeded Music City Thunder from Nashville. 41-18 was that victorious score. Then Mary Freebed, the Pacers were defeated by New York 33-23. And on that note, pause to congratulate the Mary Freebed program. The Pacers have already claimed an invitational tournament national championship at the junior varsity level. You heard, of course, the outstanding Dr. Court Snyder and my man Max Cates on that championship call. The win that got them here, though, and that shocked this Henrico Sports and Events Center yesterday, it was absolutely electric as this New York Roland Fury team defeated the top seed in the draw, the Dallas Junior Mavs, by the final score of 27-25. If that sounds like it was dramatic, it was, as that court was just ringed about 8 deep with spectators, and a fantastic upset victory for the Roland Fury. Meanwhile, for the WASA, the Wisconsin Adaptive Sports Association, Marquette Golden Eagles, they rolled through the LWSRA Hawks 40-18. That was a Midwest showdown between Wisconsin and Illinois as they knocked off the 11 seed. Up next were the number 3 seeded Fairfax Falcons. 45-32 came that triumph, and finally in the semifinals, a victory over the number 7 Lakeshore Sharks, 40-32. We are set for championship action at the prep level, and we will get the opening tip. As you see, the Golden Eagles in the navy, trimmed in gold. Meanwhile, the Roland Fury in white, accented in that New York Mets color scheme, the blue and the orange. Frank Lewis will toss it up, and the opening tip is controlled by Marquette, as Sydney Whaley-Smith got her right hand on it. Opening possession for the Golden Eagles. Down onto the low block, left side, Ivy Cosgrove. She's the younger of the Cosgrove sisters. She'll hand off to her older sister, Anna. Anna rides in baseline, had that one halfway down. Slithers off the iron and no good.
Yeah, that's a good look. A nice give and go. The baseline had the open lane, just couldn't get the finish.
You look at these Roland Fury jerseys, they're such a cool design. They have the silhouette of the New York skyline, Manhattan skyline actually, on the front and back. I mentioned that they have the New York Mets color pattern, of course representing one of the other 5 bureaus in Queens.
I like the little touch they have on it.
Me too, and man, I'll tell you, I had a blast last year calling Roland Fury basketball. They ran into foul trouble and ultimately were knocked out in the semifinal round, but they had some of the most talented players in the tournament a year ago. Back this year, didn't get to see Persad on the big stage like we did last year as the Roland Fury an empty trip on their first possession. Cosgrove, Whaley Smith, bottom.
That's just a good look. They find Sydney Whaley Smith with a mismatch down low, and she was just bigger than whoever was guarding her, so she got the freebie under.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine, particularly at this age level, that Angel Urmaneta, 21 in white, is used to being probably the tallest player, but not the case, as the miss controlled by the aforementioned Sydney Whaley Smith. Whaley Smith definitely is the tallest player in her chair in this matchup. Younger Cosgrove back tapped, but out of bounds. Nearly stolen away by Mustafa El-Deeb.
Yeah, great hustle play by Mustafa El-Deeb, potentially stopping a free 2-point opportunity and just making it difficult for anybody to try and score.
Speaking of difficult, Urmaneta able to swipe that away before it got to Whaley Smith. Steal for the Roland Fury, and here they come into the front court. Basketball controlled by Emma D'Antonio. D'Antonio shouldered out of the block, and it'll trundle out of bounds, but stay with the Fury.
I like the pace we are seeing from both teams. Consecutive swipes on either side on defense. Just being as active as they can, but we're about to see a run at some point. It's just about who is going to start it.
Yeah, in these championship games, oftentimes you'll see these early game jitters and also the feeling out process. It's going to be interesting later to see how the Brooks Bull Sharks handle that at the varsity level against, of course, the battle-tested and 2-time defending national champion Lakeshore Lakers.
And it could have been, we could have had a new champion. It was that close from what we saw yesterday. You remember,
nice set play, but D'Antonio couldn't finish. Yeah, it could have very easily been the RHI Racers facing off against Brooks. Just phenomenal drama in the afternoon yesterday in that semifinal. Anna Cosgrove had a good look from Whaley Smith, cleaned up by Urmaneta. The other thing I want to know is what the glitter budget is for the Marquette Golden Eagles fans, because they've got all of the trappings. See across, they've got the shimmering crowns, I think, that their fans are wearing.
They've invested well.
They have invested well. They've got flags and the props. They're ready.
Well, it's no secret, even from 20 miles away, you'll be able to see who they support.
Stripped by El-Deeb. Off to the races. Didn't have the numbers and shielded off by Anna Cosgrove. One-on-one matchup here. Cosgrove holding her own with Mustafa. Now the shot clock, again, doesn't become a factor at the prep level, so you have time to try to individually operate. El-Deeb, no, but the rebound to D'Antonio. More than halfway through this opening quarter, we'll get media stoppages on the next whistle. And there is that whistle. A timeout taken by head coach Christopher Noel of the New York Roland Fury, and that will become a media timeout. 3:48 remaining in this opening quarter. Feeling out process still underway. Early 2-0 advantage for the crew from the Midwest. Look at them shimmer.
would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now, Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Oh, yeah. John Laser, Max Cates back with you. It is the Prep Division National Championship game, NWBA National Championships, hosted for a pair of weekends and a pair of years here in the Henrico Sports and Events Center just outside of Richmond, Virginia. 3:48 remaining in the opening quarter. Fury yet to crack the scoreboard, and I like the preemptive timeout taken by head coach Noel. Didn't like the flow, I don't think, of his offense. Wanted to get things corrected sooner rather than later. Deeb runs right into Whaley Smith, hooks it in for Ermanetta. That set play worked beautifully. That's the greatest frustration as a coach, when you draw it up to perfection and it doesn't find its way home.
No, that is a real backbreaker, as a foul will be called on the floor.
Foul's called on Austin Bird. That's his first, team first. First foul, in fact, called in either direction thus far in this game.
Well, you spoke about teams maybe being jittery at first. That play that they just ran didn't really look that way. It was ran to perfection. It's just unfortunate that sometimes the cookie crumbles with the result not being what you're hoping for. You're doing everything right, but still doesn't end up the way you hoped for.
There's Anna Cosgrove, older of the Cosgrove sisters. Sydney Whaley Smith. She can handle it well, too. Of course, obviously, she's dangerous down low. You see her maneuvering this offense out on the perimeter. Defense chant from the Roland Fury faithful. And Anna Cosgrove pours it in, right side and down.
Just a nice move by Cosgrove, utilizing her speed, blazing down to the bucket.
Here's Deeb, changing course. Back to the top. Thought he might have popped it there. Instead, he'll set himself. Can't get it to go.
Yeah, well contested by WASA. Had two defenders on him on that one.
Well, for me, hailing from Minnesota, it's fun to see these Midwestern names on the roster for the Golden Eagles. You got a Schumacher, Eleanor, has not played just yet. I went to school, high school, with a number of Schumachers. And then, of course, every team in the Midwest has to, by rule, have at least one player named Schmidt. And I guarantee Leah's nickname is, in fact, Schmitty. I had about 4 friends known as Schmitty. Part of the fun of this tournament is seeing all the different cultural heritage from different regions in the country. And you look at the Northeast here, of course, with New York, and the Midwest with Marquette. A little earlier we had Austin, Texas represented with the ATX appearance in the invitational title game. Later on today, we'll get Birmingham, Alabama against Jacksonville, Florida.
And that's going to be a, quote-unquote, the tale of the tape between those two. It's going to, I can't wait to see how we're going to have the two-time champions gunning for a third, 4 seniors on their team, potentially playing their last ever high school tournament together. But it's going to open up so many new doors for them once they take that next step.
Great position for Ermanetta. His frustration continues as the scoreless quarter continues for the Roland Fury. Dr. Court Schneider pointing out that the Fury not moving the ball all that well in the half court. The blow by from Ivy Cosgrove with the kiss. And a timeout taken by Marquette. So a timeout in prosperity is what I call this, as the Cosgrove sisters, both having their presence felt here in the opening quarter. We'll keep it here through the timeout with 1:22 remaining. Take another look at the blow by from Ivy Cosgrove. And thus far, Max, Obviously, the scoreboard tells us this, but Marquette has been able to settle themselves into the rhythm of this game a bit quicker than the Fury have.
Yeah, they've really just gone into the pace that they were eventually looking for. They're not afraid to use either Ivy or Anna Cosgrove in any action they have going downhill, and that's been very detrimental to forcing the defense to react to them. But you also can't ignore Sydney Whaley-Smith being that presence down low, which you have to pay attention to her always in case if they get the miss. She will more likely than not be the first rebounder there. So this WASA team has multiple weapons that this New York Fury team has to be wary of. But when you look at the Fury side of the ball, they're not moving the ball as much, but you also have to commend this Eagles defense for contesting and being hard-nosed on defense every opportunity they have so far.
You were just sitting with us in the Fury huddle there around Coach Noel as he tries to get his team steady. They've gotten good looks for Erminetta, and I think once Erminetta settles into this game, Angel Erminetta, the Fury will be fine because they've gotten the ball in his hands in some of the right spots. Just has been a tough shooting quarter thus far for New York. Meanwhile, your point is an extremely valid one on the other end. Got to find a way to slow the Cosgrove sisters, of course, but then when you do know that the ball's going to Whaley-Smith at that point.
Yeah, it's just like a three-headed monster of different contrasting styles. Kind of like a black and white painting is, what do you want to pick? Do you want to pick a full white painting? Do you want to pick a full black painting? Either way, you're going to get either result that's going to, that's going to eventually get you.
Mustafa Eldib bringing the ball down floor. Emma D'Antonio rode with him. And that's who Eldib finds. And again, great position there on a set play. Just couldn't hit the shot. Sometimes it's that simple. Shots aren't falling. Ivy Cosgrove. There is Whaley-Smith. That's exactly what we were just referencing. They stopped the penetration from Anna Cosgrove, but Whaley-Smith at that point had excellent positioning.
Yeah, she just gets to extend her shooting arm just above any defender she wants. Gets to take her sweet time, banks it in.
By our counts and our statistician Court Schneider, Roland Fury have had 5 point-blank looks, which is great in terms of their offensive execution. But the downside, they've missed them all and make it 6. Final seconds of this opening quarter, but we'll get a stoppage on the tie-up. And the basketball will belong to the Roland Fury of New York. Take another look at the positioning from Whaley-Smith. And she's going to be able to convert that all day long.
Yeah, Anna Cosgrove with the nice assists, using her speed, but this time dishing it out.
Emma D'Antonio will inbound. Gets it into new entrant Elena Jackson. Jackson is immediately tied up, and that's going to give it back over to the Golden Eagles of Marquette as Anna Cosgrove able to get both hands on the basketball. 2.5 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Roll the ball down the floor and turn it over. Deeb will save the shooting percentage and not attempt a shot. 8-0 for the Marquette Golden Eagles after 1 quarter. This is the prep level national championship game from the NWBA National Championships in Richmond.
it is difficult being so far away from your loved ones.
Playing overseas, it does give you a little bit of a better environment to be your best. It was an awesome experience, and they provide us with an amazing training environment.
Fury ball to open the second quarter, trying to open the scoring for this New York team. And again, the Fury kind of known for that high wire style of basketball that they play at the varsity level, trying to unlock that here in this first half. Sometimes all it takes is a spark to ignite a wildfire, but that spark will not come on this possession, at least on the first opportunity. Again, with no shot clock, even in futility, 35 seconds have already eroded from the quarter. That shot clock was eventually implemented in high school basketball because of the four-corner stall that a lot of teams would employ, just holding the ball. Mineta, man, it's been that type of half thus far for Angel. Got to keep shooting, though. Good shooters like Erminetta will shoot themselves out of a funk. Whaley Smith nowhere near being in a funk. She's got 6, and the lead is 10.
And you got to credit the catch as well. She leaned back for that one, almost looking like she was about to fall out of her chair. That would have been a violation. But good adjustment by Whaley Smith, leading all scorers with 6.
Yeah, Whaley Smith has been a force. Cosgrove sisters have been the instigators in a positive way. Mustafa El-Deeb has been attempting to get things going for this New York team. Poked away from it. Impressive just to scoop that up off the floor by D'Antonio.
It's like that Jordan palm he would do.
Here's Emma eyeing it up. Wasn't there. Again, another great look for the Roland Fury. Down to Schmitty. Oh. Leah Schmidt. I apologize if her nickname's not Schmitty, but I can almost guarantee that it is. That's interesting, though, Max. Marquette trying to get another scorer involved in Leah Schmidt. Generally, the rule is you find that third scorer, you're going to have a great chance at success. There we go. As D'Antonio on the set play takes the feed from El-Deeb and takes that lid off the bucket.
Yeah, nice move by D'Antonio off the ball. You see her curl across the foul line, and then she turns the corner once she hits that elbow area. Wide open with the bank shot.
See if that doesn't get rid of some of the nerves. And there is Leah Schmidt. Same play, better result.
Yeah, there's something about these Cosgrove sisters with using their speed, but their IQ is sure on display as well. The give and the go. She draws the inside defender, and that's an open Schmidt.
This matches the largest lead of this opening half for the Golden Eagles. D'Antonio working with the basketball. Get El-Deeb off the ball, find him a shot. Good rotation, but too much zest on it. And it will tumble out of bounds. And New York's going to ask for a timeout and take it. So Coach Noel working the clock here, recognizes he can get a timeout here and then more than likely on the next whistle. We'll take it with the Roland Fury, trailing Marquette at the moment by 10. Oh, man, we're having fun here at the Henrico Sports and Events Center. Nobody having more fun right now than that Golden Eagle family section, family and friends. Man, oh man, and dancing. They are jiving. They are their own vibe. They brought the party here today to the Prep National Championship. Lord knows it wasn't us, but we're having fun over here too at the broadcast table. Three-man crew. You see Dr. Court Schneider there on his phone. He's like Adam Schefter. He's going to be just giving me some nuggets of information. But this is, as always, been such a rewarding weekend, Max. It's been great to work alongside of you throughout this weekend. I know we're nowhere close to being done because we have that varsity championship, which we cannot wait for. As there you see the Roland Fury contingent of fans as well, making the trip down from NYC. And we'll crown a second champion on the day to go along with the Mary Freebed Pacers, who are your VIT champions of the year 2025.
And the beauty of it is that it's all walks of life gathered in one area. And you can see how wheelchair basketball unites a lot of people in a lot of ways. It's the beauty of it.
What I've come to realize in the second year is that what it is it takes all the positive attributes of competition, puts them on display, you know, the competitive spirit, the joy of victory, all those different things, and for the most part, as another bucket for Cosgrove. This time, Ivy scoring from the left side. Look at the smile from Ivy Cosgrove as she wheels down, get back on defense. But it takes out so much of the negative, you know, the yelling at the referees by the coaches, the trash talk on the court. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen, as you know, competitive spirit will take over, but for the most part, it's non-existent.
Yeah, it really just shows the message that in the end of the day, as a charging violation will be called, this is bigger than us. This truly, really is. And after announcing the adult divisions last week, as we're going to have the media timeout, after announcing the adult division last year, I really got a bigger clarity.
14-2 for the Marquette Golden Eagles. More on that from Max on the other side. Media time out in quarter number 2.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now, Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they fly in the chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Fantastic start to this championship quest here this afternoon for the Marquette Golden Eagles, as they have raced out to a 14-2 lead on the New York Roland Fury. Couple of problems right now for the Fury. They're not shooting the basketball well, Max, and on the other end, they're having a difficult time tracking down the Cosgrove sisters, and then when they do, not sealing off where she's going next, as in this case, Whaley Smith, and that was right on my point.
Yeah, it's Cosgrove to Cosgrove, and then they meet a Whaley Smith down the middle, just this force down low that they just can't contain. And we're seeing a three-headed monster right now.
Indeed, with a little dash of Leah Schmidt in there as well. Deeb drops it off for Ermanetta, and there he goes. See a shot to the heavens after he makes that one, and one coming as well. And like I said, for the big fella, I think he just needed to see one go in. Let's see if that doesn't open the floodgates for him.
You see he gets a shot right under the block and gets fouled.
Yeah, the score should be 16-4 right now. Scoreboard having a little trouble at the moment. You can trust me, though. I'm a trustworthy guy, Max. It's 16-4. Phenomenal volunteers running this tournament for the most part, and obviously it's Whaley Smith left alone again. Just got to find a way to make life a little more difficult for Sydney Whaley Smith.
It's very hard to do when she's getting all the space she needs. Both of the Cosgrove sisters being as fast as they are, forcing the defense to react to them.
Great look on the crash from the top, but Mustafa Eldib couldn't get a clean look at it. Couple of minutes to go in this opening half. Cosgrove utilizes her sister, Anna Cosgrove, now with it. Defended by Austin Bird, passed off to D'Antonio, back to her sister. Ivy couldn't find it. D'Antonio, Whaley Smith cuts her off. Eldib to Erminetta in the lane. Offensive rebound, Bird got it to D'Antonio, in microcosm of the first half.
They're still struggling to find a consistent outpour of offense. Erminetta was their most recent bucket getter, and he got fouled on the play as well.
Knocked out of bounds, but it'll stay with Marquette, who have scored all 18 of their points in the paint. And that is telling because, again, indicative of New York not being able to hold them out of the lane. That would have been another bucket from the lane. It would not go for Anna Cosgrove. Players spilled, but will play through. Elena Jackson not in peril at the moment, but as the ball comes out near the perimeter, the officials, Joseph Saman, will step in and stop the game. Felipe Diaz is about to check into this game. A little assistance for Jackson from a family member, and he's got that Jackson jersey on. That's got to be so cool. As Joseph Saman also giving a tap on the back. So trying to get Elena Jackson situated back in her chair. Again, Felipe Diaz is going to check into the game for the first time with just under a minute to play in this opening half. Round of applause from both cheering sections for Jackson as she will be checked by Diaz.
There you see the play. Whaley Smith just dominating down low. Nothing but the glass.
There's Mustafa Eldib. Promising young player. Look at that slight change of directions. Another great look. You see the frustration, smacks his thigh after missing from the right side.
Yeah, and he's been struggling, to say the least, getting the ball in the basket. But he's creating for himself
Here comes
well.
Lucy Raitt, and her first bucket will ignite the Marquette crowd. There's one she'll remember forever on the national stage.
At the biggest stage as well, it's the finals.
All 5 starters have now scored for Marquette. The largest lead now at 16. Final seconds of this half. Again off the mark, 4.4 seconds as it's knocked out of bounds by Marquette to try to add a positive moment. Look at this, Lucy Raitt coming right at you. Lean back shot would not go, and you could just hear Coach Noel saying no, no, no. Tough first half for the New York Roland Fury, but a dynamite first half for the Marquette Golden Eagles. 20-4, a commanding lead. We'll see if New York can adjust, get back in this championship tilt, which comes your way from Richmond, Virginia. Prep Division National Championship continues after halftime intermission.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they fly in the chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Emily Hoskins and Adam Lindsay. Another big round of applause to the NWBA Junior Division Executive Committee.
Performax today with the one and only Matt Scott.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for making the trip to Dallas.
This is my first trip to the Performax headquarters, so I had never actually seen what it takes for it to go from like a small couple bars to a gold medal chair. Yeah, finished product. It's been amazing. A cool experience to see a finished product and what it starts from.
Tell us a little bit about how the involvement with Performax helps you achieve your goals as an athlete.
The first wheelchair basketball chair that I've ever had was a Performax. The first time I've ever been in a sports chair was a Performax. And I think me playing in a Performax really allows me to perform at the best of my ability.
Let's talk about the U.S. Paralympic team a little bit.
Okay.
So you're a defending gold medalist.
That's right.
Can you talk about your journey to get that gold?
It was quite the drought that we were on. I was part of the team in 04, in 08, in 2012 that wasn't able to bring home the gold. So to finally make our way up to the top of the mountain and show the world what we're truly capable of was just, I mean, it took a lot.
So you have your professional wheelchair basketball career in Europe.
Yep.
Then obviously you have some involvement here in the U.S.
Yep.
What are your future plans for that?
Well, I want to go to Tokyo. It's no secret to anybody that I want to be a part of that team. I'm going to work my butt off and bring home another gold medal. That's the ultimate goal. We've set a standard for ourselves, a golden standard. We've proved to the world that we're the best team, and I want to be part of it when we do it back to back.
Me, what is important is that I possibly had a little piece of something to do with you and your game along the way. It's all about the person next to you, man. I always felt that way with teammates and in life, you know. It's about other people. I played for the U.S. national team for 4 different decades. I was a captain of most of those teams, and there was some gold medals and other medals and a lot of jubilation and a lot of heartbreak along the way. But all that got me to this point right now where I'm in a give back mode. I've always felt that way about basketball, is to not just be on the tape. I became commissioner of the NWBA as a player just because of my desire to try to leave the sport better than when I was in it. 3-on-3 came to me because I love street ball. I thought about the opportunity where other players would get the chance to play with great players that they never thought they'd have the chance to play with. That's why the format here is you enter as an individual, and then we do a draw or make the draw ourselves so that we level the playing field as much as we can. Performex is involved, and we bring in some of their players to sprinkle with the local talents. It's got win-win written all over it. Every year we have some new faces, but the core group keeps coming back because they love it. I get a lot of feedback from young players that I made a difference in their life, not just basketball, but in their life. And that I can take with me with my head up high, even more so than wins and golds. With the start of this 3-on-3, it's bigger than any individual. It's bigger than me. It's not what you lost, it's what you gained.
Performax signed me when I was 16 years old, before I accomplished anything in the sport. They were the first ones who believed in my capabilities, and I'll never be able to repay them for what they've given me. Not only from a product side of it, they believed in my potential before I even did. This is my way of giving back to their organization and their grassroots program that they're putting together here at DK's 3-on-3. It's just something I'm honored to be a part of. It's starting to get to that time where it's my turn to give back. If that means helping kids get to college, that's something I'd be interested in. If it's helping a D3 kid work really hard to get up to the championship level, that's something I'd be interested in. It's getting to the point where championships, gold medals, that's becoming less of a priority, but to give back to the sport that has given me everything in my life, if I have the opportunity to do that, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Today we're at Performax here with Matt Bolig. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, how you were injured, how long ago, how adaptive sports has kind of helped you in your rehabilitation?
I got hurt lifting weights in college in Ottawa, doing step-ups, stepping up on a box, and it just slipped from there, came down to my butt, and actually pinched my spinal cord at 211, 212. And I thought that was the end, honestly. If it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't be in the adaptive sports world, meeting all the people that not only play basketball, but do other things that led me to countless adventures. When I was at Mizzou, I played basketball obviously, but I needed a capstone internship to graduate. My capstone internship was out in Utah. Out there I learned how to wakeboard, I did mountain biking, rock climbing, rode cycles, in town played sled hockey, and that just kind of blew up my world in a way that was good. I just thought it was only basketball, honestly, and tennis. Once I found those things, it was love at first sight. I came back, met up with Midwest Adaptive Sports, that's who I work for now. Yeah, they're located in Kansas City. All of our teams are managed by a director. So like I'm the director of basketball. We do everything we did out of Utah, except for on top of mountains, it's cut trails and forests and stuff like that. But it's fun. You and I, we grew up playing sports before we were hurt or injured, and that's something that kids with disabilities are born with it, and we don't have a choice. It's a need. It's definitely a
Moments
need.
away
So
from the second half.
Keep meeting the needs of your program as it evolves and grows over time. Definitely no. Thank you guys so much for what you guys have done.
Moments away from the start of the second half in the Prep Division Championship NWBA action, brought to you by Performax. My name is Max Gates. Alongside me is John Laser, and to his right is Court Schneider.
We got to figure out where this camera is, man. There it is.
I'm pointing
we got
at
so
it
many
somewhere.
robotic cameras here at the Enrico Sports and Events.
I remember even yesterday I was looking at one. I thought it was over there, and turns out it was on the other side.
I think I've got this one down. There it is.
The WASA Marquette Eagles with a 20-4 lead. You can thank Sydney Whaley-Smith for that, as well as Anna and Ivy Cosgrove doing a lot of the playmaking duties.
Yeah, it has really been excellent ball movement, particularly at this prep level. You mentioned earlier the speed as we get back underway here in the second half of the Cosgrove sisters. But when you have a player the size of Whaley Smith, who also really shoots the ball well, and you can get her the ball.
The pass gets intercepted, and here comes New York with a bucket to start the third. It's Emma D'Antonio.
That is exactly what the doctor ordered, in this case, Dr. Kort Schneider. But that's the start to the second half that New York so desperately needed.
New York finally with a little bit of momentum to at least open up the quarter. We haven't seen much of that in the first two.
Well, and they got active with their hands, disrupting the movement from the Cosgroves.
Cosgrove to Cosgrove. The sister action didn't work, as that was a close one. D'Antonio moving around the right side, hands it off. Here's Aldib. Aldib looking for options. He'll take it himself. Rattles in and out.
I like him taking that shot, though. Mustafa Aldib, I think he's going to have to be the X factor to get this New York team back in this game.
There isn't a shot he isn't willing to take.
And that's good. That continues to need to be the case. It has not been for lack of quality shots for the Fury. They're just having a tough shooting day.
Cosgrove short from the foul line.
And what's the better news if you're a New York fan right now is that when you're having a tough shooting day, that can turn around at any point. And when shots start falling, like we saw them yesterday for Mr. Schaff, Caden Schaff in the third quarter, suddenly you can flip a game. You know, 14 seems like a lot, but it's really not.
WASA looking to call a timeout, and there you see the layup by D'Antonio. 20-6 ball game. A minute played in the third.
I like this timeout. Preemptive timeout taken by Jim Zomchek and Amber Infelt, the coaching tandem for Marquette. They didn't love the start. You know, you've only given up 2 points, but haven't scored any through the first couple of minutes. Haven't given up a ton of momentum, and why not stop it and get yourself settled before you give up any more?
Yeah, and it's a great way to just recuperate, because maybe the coach sees something that the players don't, or maybe she sees something that could use a little bit of retooling and eventually get them the momentum they desperately wanted in the first two quarters.
Yeah, exactly. And I really liked you looking at Ivy Cosgrove right there in the Nike headband. She was rolling off the floor back towards the timeout huddle and was motioning to her teammates with her hands, you know, international sign of, hey guys, let's just calm down. Let's get back to what we're doing. And that's exactly right, because what they're doing is working. You mentioned that sister-to-sister action didn't work. It actually did. The shot just didn't go in. So let's not get out of rhythm, because that's what they've been in all day long, has been a nice rhythm.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. As both teams rolling back onto the floor. NWBA action brought to you by Performax. So the ball will be inbounded under the Eagles' basket. New York with a chance to score. D'Antonio, the dish down low.
Yeah, it took a little too long on the 3-second violation. I like the action, though. They had Indeed coming, but just have to have a bit more urgency.
Just a little bit faster to get into the motion or the play that you're trying to run. That can be a big difference maker down the line. Chance of defense echoing through the Marquette crowd. Cosgrove in a sea of white gives it up. Here's Whaley Smith. Cosgrove loses the handle, but they're going to regain possession.
Well, what's interesting is the defense chant is not being led by the Fury fans. It's being led by fans and participants of a couple other programs, and it's because they want to see these kids get back in this game. But the Marquette faithful over there were counter-chanting Marquette, Marquette, and really getting the atmosphere going here.
Whaley Smith the dish, left-handed layup, too much on it by Ivy Cosgrove. Rebound now corralled by New York. Let's see how they decide to draw up this time. It's El Deeb, swarmed by a sea of blue. Finds D'Antonio curling towards the right side.
I like Emma D'Antonio as a player. She's very confident with the ball in her hands. And I loved, honestly, that she just wheeled right up to us before the game and said, they were supposed to tell you I go by Emma. And there's Urmaneta off the feed from D'Antonio. And you got to have that moxie to be a team leader, and she definitely has it.
Yeah, and those are some qualities that are important to have that especially don't show up on the stat sheet that you just know is valuable. 12-point lead for the Eagles.
Roland Fury 4-0 in this quarter. It's important that they've gotten the offense going, but I think even more important that they've been able to hold Marquette scoreless now for more than half of this quarter.
A far cry from what we saw in the first half.
Comebacks are not built by matching baskets. They're built by baskets and stops.
Urmaneta loses the handle of the pass, and it's intercepted by Whaley Smith. Urmaneta takes a quick spill.
Friendly fire there. He clipped the wheel of his teammate Felipe Diaz.
Gets help back up. Applause from the fans. So first personal foul against Angel Urmaneta. As we're going to take a quick break, 3:44 left to play. Eagles by 12, New York with some momentum.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
Found an outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to having weapons in the military. Now, foreigners, it's our new 16th.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you don't stop with it.
3:44 left to play in the third quarter in the Prep Division Championships in the matchup between the New York Rolling Fury and the Wisconsin Adaptive Sports Association, also known as the WASA Marquette Eagles. John Laser alongside me. My name's Max Gates, bringing you all the action. Here comes Anna Cosgrove down low. Whaley Smith, and she keeps pouring it on.
Nice adjustment by Marquette right there, because what the Roland Fury had done to start the second half, you can't press at this prep level, but you can come out to the midcourt stripe and press there and extend your defensive pressure. That's what New York was doing. The counter to that's the press breaker, and the key to that is floor spacing. Marquette recognized that, got the ball back to position A.
Here's El Deeb. Couldn't make it off the glass. Rebound goes to the Eagles.
Let's see where they pick up Anna Cosgrove. Tried to right at half court.
Cosgrove. She beat Austin Bird on the dribble, but referee Corey Piercy on the call calls it a holding foul. So that's going to be the third total team foul, second one this quarter against the Rolling Fury.
No ball pressure.
And Whaley Smith picking up where she left off. She sits at 14 points.
Yeah, I said it right there. No ball pressure on Ivy Cosgrove, and that just makes life way too easy for the Golden Eagles.
You give her the space, she'll find a way to utilize it the best as she can. You've got to defend using your wheels, not your arms. That's what you get when you're Austin Bird getting called for the holding foul.
Now the Roland Fury, who are off to a strong start to this half on more than a 3-minute scoring drought, while Marquette has stretched the lead back to what the advantage was at the half.
Emma missing from near point-blank range. Rebound corralled by Lucy Raitt. Marquette look more in control now towards the end of the third as they did in the beginning. Cosgrove fakes, fires, misses from the backboard. A minute 44 left to play. Eagles by 16 as New York are trying to cut down on the deficit. Nice feed, just couldn't get the results.
Yeah, great look right there. Great timing from El Deeb, and D'Antonio still doesn't understand how that one spun out no good.
Sometimes the basketball gods are just not in your favor. Anna Cosgrove finds her sister Ivy, misses short.
It's interesting, Anna Cosgrove, the older sister, but Ivy is the much more vocal sister. She's kind of the leader on the floor, directing their defense.
Nice feed from El Deeb. Ermanenta leading all New York scorers with 6. Less than a minute left to play. Fury finally in double-digit figures. The Eagles by 14. Championship on the line. Before we end the third quarter, great defense by El Deeb, saves it to Bird. It's going to be a jump ball called, and that's New York basketball. What hustle by Mustafa.
Yeah, he loses possession, but gains the possession arrow. That was tremendous hustle, to your point, to not only save the ball, but to do it to a teammate.
El Deeb maneuvering towards the left side of the floor. Here's D'Antonio. Swish.
And the last 4 for the Fury to lead this quarter 8-4.
Cut down, the Eagles lead down to half. 7 seconds left before the end of the third. Championship game, Cosgrove will not take the chance on the heave, and that'll be it. 8 more minutes of Junior Prep Division action here in Richmond, Virginia. We'll be back after a short moment with the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's something that so few people get the chance to it is difficult being so far away from your loved ones.
8 more minutes before we crown a Junior Prep Division Championship. It's NWBA action on Championship Sunday, brought to you by Performax. Alongside me is the John Laser. My name is Max Cates. Thankful to bring all of you some wheelchair basketball action. The Eagles have it. Anna tried to find her sister Ivy, loses the handle, and New York with a chance to cut it down to a 10-point game. El Deeb trying to maneuver around the Antonio screen. He does. Now he's on the left side of the floor. Looking for options on what to do. He finds the seam right down the middle, and he gets fouled.
Yeah, I was just about to say for El Deeb, he's essentially, as he's working the perimeter, looking for exactly that. Just the slightest of cracks in the defense to crash downhill, and that was a perfect example of him able to do so.
Excellent patience there by Mustafa El Deeb. Converts the three-point play. His first field goal and his first free throw made cuts it down to a single-digit deficit. Eagles by 9.
That 16-point lead has become 9. Still plenty of time in this game. We saw the game really tighten up at the Invitational Championship game.
If you're watching this, you're getting your time worth as Cosgrove spinning, trying to find a direction, finds Whaley Smith.
Finds Whaley Smith, but way too far from the basket.
Whaley Smith, the dish down low, pass gets intercepted. As the ball gets tangled up, jump ball, it's going to be New York basketball.
Great defense by Erminetto right there, just hatcheting that ball away.
And there you see El Deeb finishing through contact. He's dribbling up the ball right now. New York playing way better than what they did during the first half. They look like a rejuvenated team. 6:24 left in the fourth quarter. They couldn't buy a bucket. They're gathering momentum now. El Deeb stops, fires, couldn't get the roll.
And the facial reaction from El Deeb said it all. Couldn't believe that didn't go down. But to your previous point, Max, at this age and under this amount of pressure on the national stage, just having a little confidence can immediately flip your confidence. It's very abrupt, and you see that from New York right now.
And you just never know when that switch is gonna happen. The momentum keeps piling up for New York as Austin Bird gets the steal.
It's gotta be a foul on the hold right there, and it is. Good call by the official Frank Lewis, because that was about to be a poetic move from Bird.
Ivy Cosgrove now called for her first personal.
And quite frankly, that was a good foul taken by Ivy Cosgrove. That was going to be a roll-in easy bucket for Bird.
Huge momentum stopper. And now we're about to see what New York's made of. Trying to get something to go. El Deeb double-teamed. Forced to reset. He says, I'll take it myself.
Yeah, he corrected. He took away what I was just about to say. He should have shot the ball sooner the first time. Recognized that on the rollout, and on the reapproach, he fired early.
El Deeb getting rewarded for the patience. Cuts the Eagles lead down to 7 in the championship series. And Marquette needs to take a break. The Fury rallying something sweet with a little bit over 5 minutes left here in the fourth quarter.
Haven't scored this quarter. Thinking about these championship games.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
Found my outlet through virtual basketball.
A lot of us are used to having weapons in the military. Now formats. It's our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
20. I'm sorry, 4. It's 13-4 in the second half. And they haven't scored this quarter.
A little bit over 5 minutes left to play here in the fourth quarter in the Prep Division Championship matchup between the New York Rolling Fury and the WASA Marquette Eagles. The score tells a very big story as the Fury only had 4 points heading into halftime, and now they're only down by 7, while the Eagles, they had quite a big lead.
Well, here's good news for both teams right here. For Marquette, that lead was so large at the half, sitting at 16, that their margin for error was pretty vast. They've almost used it up, but a couple of buckets is going to make that lead once again feel insurmountable. The good news for New York is those buckets are not guaranteed, and even if they don't complete this epic comeback, they'll at least go back to New York knowing that they displayed their best ball.
Anna Cosgrove with the follow-through on the baseline. Eagles back up by 9. 5 minutes left to play.
That was a huge basket.
And what a moment to do it right after the timeout. D'Antonio, El Deeb. Mustafa El Deeb turning it up. in the fourth quarter. He sits at 7 points.
Well, and remember what I said back in the second quarter. It wasn't for a lack of good looks. It's just the shots weren't falling. And for an excellent offensive team like New York, that's just a matter of inevitability. Now the shots are falling.
Whaley Smith to a cutting Cosgrove.
But now you can't allow, if you're New York, your offensive success to allow you to get lax defensively. You've got to continue to play this game on both ends. You cannot trade baskets.
And for the Eagles, that's exactly what you want to do. If you're New York, you're going to need to find a way to get a stop.
Because off these makes, they've had a little more trouble setting up their pressure across the half-court line.
Eldeeb dribbling through a fury of screens.
There's
he finds the lane in the middle.
Oh,
he gets fouled, but he'll go to the line.
But I love that. Again, he's kind of looking you over, trying to find that weakness in that interior defense. And he's done a masterful job at doing that here in the second half.
Here you see the Eagles with a nice play. Whaley Smith to Cosgrove.
Yeah, that play looked much more difficult the second time around.
We'll be back after a short media timeout. Eagles with a 28-19 lead in the Junior Prep Division Championships. The New York Rolling Fury has found a way to claw themselves back into contention to snag this Prep Division Championship away. But can the WASA Marquette Eagles hold their lead?
Well, and again, you look at the score in this game, 28-19, and we're all the way into the latter half of this fourth quarter. So that 9-point lead is actually more like 14 at the pace in which this game is being played. And also remember, there's no shot clock. So the team leading can go into a version of the wheelchair stall. With that said, you have basically no margin for error, but you do have a chip and a chair and chance, in this case literally, as the old gambling reference goes. Eldeeb has been wonderful in the second half.
All of his points have come in the fourth quarter as Eldeeb splits the pair at the line. Tried to save the possession, but goes right into the hands of Ivy Cosgrove of Marquette.
So like I said, no margin for error. You've got to get stops on every defensive possession.
And you got to pressure Whaley Smith with a huge two under the basket, puts the Eagles up by 10.
And one of your problems, of course, right here was you were down a player on the defensive end, as D'Antonio, unfortunately, was spilled on the offensive end. We've had enough trouble trying to keep Whaley Smith off that block with all five, so imagine trying to do it 4-on-5. Good news, the only good news on that possession for the Rolling Fury is that possession only took about 5 seconds.
They went fast, and you can see New York Fury head coach telling them to roll the ball. Clock starts once any player on any team touches the ball after an inbound.
You don't see this a lot at the junior varsity and adult level because it's difficult when you're allowed to come up and pressure in the backcourt to pick up the ball. But it is a tactic that works at the prep level because you can pick it up just shy of the half-court line.
What a play by Austin Bird. Gets the offensive rebound. And Emma D'Antonio says, I will oblige.
And New York no longer has time for that estimate and attack offense that they've been running, where they've been looking for those cracks. They've got to score like they just did in about 10 seconds.
Cosgrove on the perimeter. Finds Whaley Smith over a sea of defenders. A difficult shot by Sydney Whaley-Smith.
Serious
Eagles.
question, Max. Has she missed a shot today? I can't recall one.
Oh, it doesn't look like it either. 18 points for Sydney Whaley-Smith in the biggest stage of her young career. Will New York answer? Not yet. Hermanenta fails to convert under the basket as we approach the 2-minute mark of the fourth quarter.
So again, now Marquette has no reason to be in any hurry.
They're taking their time on this one. Whaley-Smith down the lane.
Still perfect. 20.
A 20-point performance for Sydney Whaley-Smith as we approach 90 seconds of the last quarter of the Prep Division Championships. But after this, you don't want to miss the game that's coming up afterwards.
No, we've got a tremendous championship game coming up between Lakeshore and Brooks at the varsity level. But that basket, you could kind of just feel it in the arena here. That was the sealer, and every fan in here knows it.
El Deeb misses the fadeaway, leaning back, had too much power on it. As we approach the minute mark of the fourth quarter, Marquette finding ways to slice and dice, and there's Ivy Cosgrove off the Whaley-Smith feed.
Well, that's what I mentioned about Whaley-Smith. She's not just a big player that can score from great position. She can also facilitate, and it's gone both ways. The Cosgroves to Whaley-Smith, and like right there, Whaley-Smith back to the Cosgroves.
As here you see the rolling Cosgrove, and nobody can stop that. Using the glass. This Marquette team.
Oh, look at that. There's a party over there. The Pacers already national champions. That group of Wisconsinites about to be national champions. If you're looking for a good time and a party, that's the area of the arena you want to report to right now.
They're going to be the happiest ones after.
I like the Pacers. They're a happy mood, man. They're champions of the invitational bracket. They're like, hey, who's having the most fun in the gym? Let's go sit by them.
Let's bring our good mood with us.
Good vibes. That's what we've got going on here today.
Nothing but good vibes in Richmond.
Man, I mean, they had all of the glitter and the gloss and everything out before the game even started. Can you imagine what kind of props they have to party with to celebrate the national championship? Yep, I'm seeing balloons coming out over there.
All we're missing really is a confetti cannon.
Well, don't tell that to the facilities director just yet. We got to wait for the end of the day.
New York down by 14. They have to heave.
Oh,
and one opportunity.
It should be a 4-point play. And Hermanetta charging up the New York crowd at least one last time. And even official Joseph Saman had to smile at that.
Hermanetta chair-to-chair contact on his left wheel. And he says, I'm not done just yet.
And again, it's about the moments. Of course, everyone will remember who won the championship, but these youngsters are going to remember these moments. For Hermanetta, he's going to remember that three. He's going to remember the reaction of the crowd. Hopefully he doesn't remember that he didn't complete the 4-point play, but that he had the chance to do so.
As the clock dwindles down half a minute, here's a steal for New York. Mustafa El Deeb stopped in his tracks but throws a beauty to Emma D'Antonio. 23 seconds remaining. Marquette just need to hold on to the basketball and they'll be crowned champions. El Deeb tried to save it. Marquette will have possession.
Well, a couple of different things. One, mark of a great coach, which Christopher Noel obviously is. Team didn't quit at any point here today. But on the other side, Jordan Wilkins, who leads this Golden Eagles program, and his coaches at the prep level, Jim Zomchek, Amber Infelt, every time they got pressured and it seemed like the lead was evaporating, they made an adjustment. And because of that, they're about to be champions.
Aaron pass New York with the final bucket in the buzzer. But the WASA Marquette Eagles are your Prep Division champions of 2025.
And look at the smiles and in some cases the tears of joy from the Marquette Golden Eagles. Let's get the camera over onto the court because like I said, this contingent of friends and family and fans, they were ready to celebrate that title. And here they come with the balloons and everything else. It's a party in Richmond.
It's a party in Richmond, and there's nobody happier than the WASA Marquette Eagles players. They are the best Prep Division team in the country.
And a great embrace just right in front of me between Christopher Noel and the aforementioned Jordan Wilkins, leaders of these programs. And this is a mark when you make it to this point in prep that says, hey, the program's going to continue to ascend. Hats off literally to that group of fans and family members that came down here to Richmond from Wisconsin and supported these youngsters. Likewise for the folks from New York. This game had a tremendous spirit and again the term vibe to it, Max, and that's just a testament to how much everybody loves these kids.
And look, they're about to cut the net. So that memory will last for a lifetime, as you see on the left side of the floor. Alongside me is John Laser. My name is Max Cates. We thank you all so much for tuning in of the Prep Division Final. Marquette Eagles flying away with the first place finish. But don't leave yet. We still have one more grand finale before we end our Richmond weekend.
Let's hear it one more time for the Dallas Junior Mavs. Now it's time to recognize our runner-up finishers, the New York Fury. Their roster, number 3, Austin Berg. Number 11, Mustafa Eldin. Number 14, Emma D'Antonio. Number 20, Adele Thompson. Number 21, Angel Armanetta. Number 26, Elena Jackson. And number 30, Felipe Diaz. The head coach is Chris Noel, his assistant, Will Zuma. Let's hear it one more time for our runners-up, the New York Fury. And now it's time to introduce our 2025 NWBA Varsity Invitational Champions, the WASA Marquette Eagles. Head coach Jim Zuchek, please come up and accept their team's trophy. And now let's meet the roster for the Eagles. Number 1, Lucy Wright. Number 5, Eleanor Schumacher. Number 11, Sophia Clark. Number 13, Anna Cosgrove. Number 15, Sydney Whaley-Smith. Number 20, Ivy Cosgrove. And number 24, Leah Schmidt. Assistant coach, Amber Infeld.
Like playing with fire.
Let's hear it one more time for the Eagles, the champions of the prep division. It's now time to announce our MVP from the championship game from the Eagles, Sydney Whaley-Smith. All right, it's now time to announce our team individual awards for the tournament. Let's hear it one more time for Marquette, the champions.